Hello, Kinderlach. Welcome to A Story a Day with Yisrael Horowitz. Tonight we're going to talk about the story of how the Yidden came into Eretz Yisroel. This story begins when Moshe Rabbeinu passes away. At the end of the Torah, it speaks about how Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, and all the Yidden were very sad. For a whole month, they cried for Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on Zion Adar, and then for a whole month, for 30 days, the Yidden were very sad and were crying for Moshe. But then Hashem told Yehoshua, come, stand up, and now it's your turn. It's your turn to bring the Yidden into Eretz Yisroel. And before the 30 days were up, Yehoshua sent spies into Eretz Yisroel. 2 spies. And these spies were big tzaddikim. It wasn't like the spies from when Moshe Rabbeinu sent the Yidden. These spies knew that Eretz Yisroel was the promised land and that all the Yidden wanted the land of Eretz Yisroel. The spies were sent just to see how to capture the upcoming cities. So Moshe Rabbeinu sent Yehoshua sent 2 spies, Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, and Kalev. Pinchas and Kalev crossed the Jordan River and went into Eretz Yisroel. They came to the closest city where the Yidden across the Jordan, where the Yidden were, in the city called Yericho, or Jericho. Today, that city still in Eretz Yisroel. It's called Yericho. And that city was a big city surrounded with a big wall. And that wall was so big and so strong that it had guards on top. But that wall was so thick that they made houses inside that wall. Pinchas and Kalev came quietly into the city. They came dressed up like people that sold merchandise, sold pots. And they heard that there was a special hotel with a lady. Her name was Rachav. She ran the hotel. They came to her house and they asked her to stay the night. While they were there, they wanted to get an idea of what was going on in the city, because this was going to be the first city that the Yidden are going to take over. While they were there, they were asking some people some questions, and some people realized that they are spies. And the news traveled around the city and got all the way to the king. And when the king heard that there were spies in Rachav's house, he quickly sent over soldiers to go to Rachav's house. They ran to Rachav's house and they banged on the door. Open up in the name of the king. And she knew that the soldiers were on their way. So before they even came, she brought them up to the roof. And she put Pinchas and Kalev, she hid them in the flax logs that were there. Some people say that Pinchas was a malach. Pinchas was Eliyahu Navi later on. And he was a malach, so he didn't even need to hide. He just disappeared. And the guards came, Rachav opened up. The guards said, did you see the spies that the Yidden sent? And she said, actually, yes, I did see them. If she would say no, then they wouldn't believe her. But she said, yes, I saw them. And they ran far away. Quickly, run down there. Run towards the forest. That's where they went. And she sent those guards on a big goose chase. They were chasing nobody because they were hiding at the top of the roof. That night, when it got dark, Rachav came up to the roof and she told the spies, she told Pinchas and Kalev, she said, all the people, I run a hotel for a long time and I see lots of people and I know that they're all petrified of the Yidden. They heard the story of the Yidden leaving Mitzrayim with all the Makkahs and crossing the Yam Suf, and how they took over Oig and Sichain, and how they had so many miracles, and we're all petrified of you. I know that Hashem is going to give this city into your hand. I'm asking you that when you come and you take over the city, please save me. And Pinchas and Kalev said, we will save you only if everybody from your family comes into your house, and you'll put a special sign, this big red rope that you have here at the side of your house. You lower the rope down, and like this, the Yidden will see which house is yours, and everybody that's in that house will be saved. But if they're out of that house, they will not be saved. And Rachav said, will do. And she took the red rope, and remember, Rachav lived in the big wall of the city, and she lowered the spies out on the outside of the wall, down until they got down to the ground. And they said, remember your promise. We will. As long as all your people are in the house, they're saved. If they leave, we can't spare them. And Pinchas and Kalev ran to the forest and hid out for some time, and then came, after a few days of hiding, they came back to Yehoshua. Yehoshua asked them, okay, so what do you say about the land of Eretz Yisroel? How does it look? And Pinchas and Kalev told everybody, all the Goyim are petrified of the Yidden. They're so afraid. They right away sent spies. All the people are afraid. Rachav saw so many people, and all of them were petrified of the Yidden. Hashem is going to give over the land in our hands. All the Yidden were very excited. Yehoshua was now the new leader, and he was strengthened by the news. And now it was time to cross into Eretz Yisroel. The Yidden lived at the time they were in today's Jordan, which back then was a place was called Mayav, because the people living there, their names were Mayav. The nation was the nation of Mayav. And Hashem said, now we're going to cross over the Yarden. Hashem told Yehoshua to prepare the Yidden. Yehoshua prepared the Yidden. He told them all to prepare themselves, their kids, their wives, their animals, and everybody, because in just the next day, we're going to cross over the Yarden. The next day came, it was the 10th of Nisan. So 30 days after Moshe Rabbeinu passed away on Zion Adar, plus 3 days for getting ready. And now it's the 10th of Nisan. Hashem told Yehoshua, today I'm going to make you very famous and great in the eyes of all the nations, because there's going to be a very big miracle that will happen today. And so prepare the Yidden, bring them towards the Yarden, and do as I say. Yehoshua brought the Yidden towards the Yarden, and this time the Kohanim were carrying the Aron. Usually Levim carried the Aron in the Midbar for 40 years, but now the Kohanim carried the Aron. And usually the Aron was carried in the middle of the camp of the Yidden, but now the Aron is in the front to show the Yidden that now we're going into Eretz Yisroel. The Torah should lead the way. And Yehoshua told the Yidden, come close. Come towards the Aron. Between the sticks of the Aron. It wasn't that much space between the sticks of the Aron, but Hashem made a big miracle that all the Yidden were able to fit in between the sticks of the Aron. And this to show that right now, before we're going to Eretz Yisroel, remember that we're all part of Hashem's nation. We're all subdued to the Torah, and the Torah is going to lead our way. Yehoshua says, we're bringing you over to Eretz Yisroel. Remember, Hashem is only giving us Eretz Yisroel in order for you to do Torah and mitzvahs. So remember to keep everything the Torah says, and don't stray from it. Don't be fooled by the Goyim that live in Eretz Yisroel, that are doing Avodah Zarah and all different Averas. Don't be led astray by them. Stay close to the Torah, and then Hashem will lead the way. And as soon as the Kohanim stepped forward, stepped their feet into the Yarden. The Yarden River, the Jordan River was full then. It was Nisan, and throughout the whole winter, lots of rain came down, and it was a full flooded river flowing by from north to south. The Yidden were standing, and the Yarden kept flowing full on its sides. As soon as the Kohanim stepped with their feet into the Yarden, a very big miracle happened, and the Yarden split. Now, this was different than Kriyas Yamsuf. Kriyas Yamsuf was an ocean. The ocean, when the ocean split, it stayed aside, and there was just one path in the river. Over here, one path in the ocean. Over here by the Yarden, it's a flowing river. So when Hashem split the Yarden, all the river, all the water that was coming down was coming from the right to the left. All the water that already passed the Yidden on the left just kept going. And all that dried up. And all the water on the right kept coming, because it comes down. It comes from the Kinneret all the way to the Yam HaMelech. And the Yidden were somewhere in the middle. So all that water that was coming, it didn't have anywhere to go because it couldn't keep going. Instead of going to the sides, Hashem made a miracle. It went up, and the water kept coming. The water kept going up, 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 up. It kept growing more and more and higher, like a tall tower. It went up through over 300 amas, the Gemara says. And all the kings living in Eretz Yisroel at that time saw the huge tower of the Yarden. And everyone said, what is that? What is that? Later on, they found out that was the Yidden crossing the Yarden. And all the Yidden started crossing over, the men, the women, the children, the animals. They were all crossing over. And Yehoshua had 12 men, each one from another shevet, already prepared. He told them each one should take a big stone out from underneath the Yarden. And each one took one stone that we'll see they're going to use it later in that day. They're going to use it to make a mizbeach. And another 12 men. So 24 people altogether. 12 men took stones. Another 12 men built a big monument of 12 stones that they took from the riverbed of the Yarden, and to make a remembrance that the Yidden crossed the Yarden. And meanwhile, the whole time, all the Yidden are crossing, and a huge tower of water is hovering over them. 12 men have the stones outside. There's a huge monument of 12 stones in the Yarden. All the Yidden cross over to the other side, and now Yehoshua and all the Yidden are on one side, and the Kohanim are still right at the edge of the other side. Yehoshua says, Kohanim, move back. The Kohanim move back, put their feet back on the dry ground before them. And as they move back, the huge tower of water comes down, crashing. And the water continues flowing like it was the days before. And now the Yidden are on one side of the river, and the Kohanim are on the other. And a big miracle happens. The Arain comes and lifts the Kohanim and flies them over the Yarden. Now the Kohanim are together with the rest of the Yidden. And now that is the story of how the Yidden came into Eretz Yisroel finally. Finally, after 40 years in the desert, and 210 years in Mitzrayim, all those years of suffering, like around 86 years of suffering in Mitzrayim, all their lives, the Yidden kept saying, one day we'll be in the promised land. One day we'll be in the promised land. 40 years of wandering in the desert, all dreaming about being in the promised land. Here they are. The Yidden are on the other side of the Yarden. They're in Eretz Yisroel. Yehoshua tells them, while they were crossing the Yarden, Yehoshua told them, remember the Yidden, Hashem is only letting you cross if you take over Eretz Yisroel, and we'll get rid of all the Goyim. And that's what the Yidden said they'll do. And now the Yidden are up to the next stage, where they have to come and take over Eretz Yisroel and live inside. Because the whole Eretz Yisroel was full of a lot of Goyim that lived there at the time. And that was going to be their next challenge. The day isn't over. The Yidden still have another huge miracle that they still have yet to do. But that's the end.